Today is Saturday, which means it is Park Run Day, and we're heading over to Cosmeston Lakes Park Run. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about this park run, whilst also trying to achieve my best time. So let's get into it. Cosmeston Park Run is located in Wales, and it is to the south of Wales, just beneath Cardiff. It is a slightly hilly course, and it is made up of two loops, one smaller loop and then one larger loop. It is on a mixture of different surfaces too, so you've got tarmac, gravel and also trail. Therefore, I would probably recommend taking trail shoes to this course, especially in the winter months when the trail paths get a little bit wetter and more slushy. It is also good to note that the course is buggy/pram friendly. However, unfortunately, it is not dog friendly, so you can't take your dogs. There are free toilets too, which are located at the Refresh Cafe or the Visitor Centre, which is really close to the car park, so you don't need to worry about that. There's also plenty of things to do nearby, which includes a medieval village, playgrounds, woodland walks, and lots of bird hides too. In terms of how scenic the park run is, I'd say it is actually a really nice one to do. You run around the lake, which is beautiful, and then you also run through the woodland area too, which is really nice, and you'll see that a little bit later on. And in terms of whether you're going to get a PB or not, I'd probably say this one is not a PB potential, as it is slightly hilly and it's on a little bit of trail paths too. However, there are definitely a lot harder ones out there, so you potentially could get a PB if you've only done hard ones so far. But before we do take a look at the course, if you don't know what a park run is, it is essentially a 5k run ran by a group of volunteers. They both time and marshal the event. Once you hit the finish line, you'll be given a finish token. That'll be scanned alongside a personalised barcode, and then you'll be sent your official time and position later on. And now let's take a look at a summary of the course with the elevation in that top left-hand corner. So this is the first small loop around the lake. You'll then head back, do the same bit again, but this time you're going to head off to the left, going through the woodland area. Obviously, it's a little bit hillier down there, but then it's back down to downhill before going back down the last path by the lake until you hit the finish line. So that is an elevation gain of 46 meters and a max elevation of 27 meters. That is a quick summary of the course, but now let's take a look at it in a bit more detail. Starting off here on the eastern side of Cosmeston Lakes and making your way towards the centre. This is all on gravel paths. You're then going to turn off to the left-hand side and cross the lakes on tarmac paths. So nice start there, nice and flat too. You're then going to turn off to the right-hand side. This is now trail paths. Do sort of a quarter of a circle, head your way back, and then it sort of turns back from trail to gravel, and then you're back on that tarmac path down the centre. You're then going to do that little small loop one more time, and then once you've done that, you're going to head your way forwards instead and into the woodland. So this is all still on trail path, and the hill incline starts from here. So you're then going to turn off to the left, sort of do a swooping half oval towards the top, and then once you hit that top section, you're going to do a sharp right-hand turn back on the tarmac paths, heading your way back downhill now. You turn left here, back onto the path where you started, and that is going to be where you finish too. So in terms of how complicated it is, it does look quite a hard one to understand. However, there's not really that many paths, so you can't really go wrong. There's also marshals at all the turning points too, pointing you in the right direction. So nice and simple. That is the course, and now it's time to take a look at some park run records which have been set here at Cosmeston Lakes Park Run. Starting off with the fastest male. The fastest male is Felix McGrath with a time of 15 minutes and 23 seconds. Unbelievably fast. The fastest female is Alor Evans with a time of 18 minutes and 35. So two really quick times at this park run, which does show that you can get a really speedy time here. The average number of runners is 164, so sort of an average amount, not too busy, and an average time of 29 minutes and 12 seconds, which again is a pretty quick average time. Those are some incredible stats which have been set by people who have ran this park run in the past. But now let's take a look at my park run stats, starting off with the number of locations. So we have done 73 park runs at 53 different locations. My best finish position was 4th, and that was set at Zielony Jar in Poland. And then my fastest times range from Somerdale Pavilion to Grangemore, with my fastest time being 22:32, and that was set a couple of years ago now. So I'm looking forward to eventually being able to take one of these times off the leaderboard. And now what you've all been waiting for, we're here at the run. So as you can see, you sort of get penned in at the start. There's 2 ropes either side, so it is a very busy start, and we are setting off right now. So we are already losing a little bit of time as we can't go out at full speed. So if you're a quick runner, I definitely recommend getting at the front. You do start on this little bit of grass here, but apart from that, there is no grass for the rest of the run. So we're now going to head onto the gravel, which I was talking about earlier, and then it is all gravel at this first section. So it's an okay start. We are going to be able to start taking over people, and as you get on throughout the run, it obviously does space out too, which makes it a little bit easier to run around people. The park run has eased us in with a windy and flat start, and if you do need to overtake people, you can go onto the grass, but be wary of the benches, which you can see on the right hand side. You don't want to run head first into one of those. But now as we turn off to the left hand side, you're going to notice it will change quickly from gravel onto tarmac. So a lovely bit of tarmac, and you're going to be heading downhill. So from the most northerly point to the most southerly point, it is all downhill and on tarmac paths. So this is the nicest bit of the run, and you don't ever have to run up it either. So that's good news. So we're now making our way towards the most southerly point of the park run, and we're about to turn off to the right. So as you notice, we're going into the more of a woodland sort of section, and the car park is literally just down here too, but it's a bit further off to the left. But now we are turning off to the right as it goes onto the gravel / traily paths, that sort of thing. So you'll notice gravel in some sections. Oh yeah, be wary of that restriction there of the bridge too, and then you'll notice trail in sections like this as well. But as you go towards the north, like I was saying earlier, is when it starts getting a bit hillier. So you'll notice that the elevation in that bottom right will start going up again. 1 kilometre in, and we've ran that one at about a pace of 5 minutes and 3 seconds, so a lot quicker than last week's park run. That is the aim, to just start chalking off some time each week, and hopefully we can get back to those leaderboard sort of times. Still heading uphill, as you can see, it's gone up from 15 to 21 metres of elevation now, and it is more of like a trail path around this section. Thankfully it was a nice day and it wasn't raining, so it wasn't very muddy or slippy either on foot. But if you do want any information on the elevation or any of my split times, I will leave a link to my Strava in the description below, so you can go and check that out. And as you can see, there are 2 arrows there. The pink arrow, which is pointing you to the right for lap 1, and then lap 2, it points you off to the left-hand side, so you're doing the bigger loop. There'll also be volunteers there pointing you and pushing you down to that right-hand side so you don't go wrong. So now we're gonna go head our way back downhill and then back up the other side, you'll notice in just a second, as we make our way back to that tarmac road and then back down to complete loop number 1. And here it is, the dreaded incline back onto the tarmac. So you'll notice the elevation will start jumping up again as we go up this hill. So from 11 to 12, 12 goes up to 13 in just a second until you get up to the top. You can see there's a photographer at the top too, so getting photos of you struggling to get up the deadly hill, and then it's going to continue up until you hit the tarmac path. But if you are enjoying this review, do make sure to smash that like button and also subscribe if you are new, as we try and get a park run out each week so that you can watch a new one. After that solid hill, you're now back on that decline, and then when you cross over these lakes, do make sure to look off to the left and the right hand side. It is very pretty, you get to see all the wildlife on either side of the lakes too. But this loop is going to be exactly the same, and then I'll come back to you with my split times in just a second. So that's 2 kilometers down and 3 kilometers to go. That one was ran at a 4:59 pace. So we're doing well at the moment, keeping it around that 5 minute pace, hoping to get under sort of 27, 26 minutes so that we can beat last week's time. Again, crossing back over that bridge and heading back onto the trail, and now heading up back north, so it's going to get hilly again. Half of the run done and half of the run to go. So my pace is beginning to drop a little bit, but that's probably because most of this bit is a gradual incline. So you can probably see from the camera, to be honest, that it's just a slow incline throughout this whole section. And you'll notice we're back at the point where you turn off to the right or the left. So don't go off to the right, otherwise you're going to be doing that small loop again, or I suppose if you did go off to the right, you could probably cheat and go straight to the finish line. Instead, do make sure you go off to the left hand side here. Do watch out as well for the people that are still on their first lap, because you don't want to run into them. So it continues going uphill and into the forestry area. It is a really nice like woodland area, Cosmeston Lakes, so I definitely do recommend going to this park run for the aesthetics rather than trying to get yourself a PB. But it's a little bit of a gradual incline to start with, and then you'll notice that the elevation will start going up again, as it is already at 27 meters. 3 kilometers done and 2 kilometers to go. So this one was slightly slower at a 5 minute, 5 second pace, but that is completely fine. And you'll notice now that it is going to start going uphill. It's slightly steeper, I'd say, this section compared to the first loop, but you did have that little bit of a decline to begin with. It's still all in the forest, all on trail paths too, but right now we're going at a nice and decent pace. So hopefully we can keep this up and beat last week's time. Another half kilometer done, so we're doing all right at the moment, slowing down ever so slightly more, running at about a 5 minute and 7 pace now, but as you can see the elevation has gone all the way up from 13 meters to 34 meters, so it is a very gradual incline, but you're definitely gonna feel it, and that is why I probably wouldn't say this one is PB worthy. But as soon as you get up to that top, it is all downhill from there back to the finish line. So you've got all of that to look forward to. So the time that I got on my previous park run at Fire Service College Park Run was 27:25. So that is the time we're looking to beat. And right now we're on time to smash it. You will find as you get towards this section right up at the north, it will turn slowly from gravel back to tarmac. So the paths are a lot nicer up in this section. You'll also notice that it gets a little bit more constricted too. So it is harder to overtake people. So don't do anything silly and try and get around someone and accidentally trip them over. But we're now weaving in and out a couple of the trees. It's going to be a sharp rightish sort of hand turn in just a moment. And then we'll be back on that tarmac. With around 1 kilometer left of the run to go, we make our way through the final fence, pushing us towards that tarmac path, and we're doing really well at the moment. We ran that last one at about a 5 minute and 5 second pace, and now we're back on the tarmac. So as you'll notice, it is actually a little bit of a gradual sort of incline to begin with, but then after that, it is now all downhill. So this is good news. So hopefully we can start to pick up the pace as we make our way towards the finish. You'll notice quite a few people actually start picking it up. I'm guessing they're more like locals that have been quite a few times, knowing what the elevation is like here, and then they turn off to the left for that sprint finish. With about half the kilometre to go, we are doing really well, starting to pick up the pace here as we make our way towards the finish. And you can see the elevation has dropped now to about 23. So it's not as quick a downhill as it is uphill, but when you're running it, you definitely feel like you're going a lot quicker when you go down this tarmac section. Maybe it's the change of the path too, because it's gone from trail to tarmac. Maybe that's why it does feel a lot quicker, but you can see now surely it's going downhill. Yeah, the elevation is going to begin to drop here, so doing well. Can we get under 26 minutes, or will it just be over? And this is where you cut off back to the left hand side, and you'll notice that this is the path where you started on. So there's the gravelly sort of path, the grass on either side. And like I said before, you can go on the grass if you'd like to, if it has been quite hard on your knees. We're now picking up the pace even more as we head our way towards the finish line. You can see a lot of people have picked up their pace too, been overtaken by a couple of people as well here, but we're doing all right. But what time can we get? That is the question. And it's the final push. So just behind my head is where the finish line is. We're going to push past person number one. We're doing well. This bit is slightly downhill too, so it feels like you are flying right now. And then we're going to turn off to the right into the grass again here. We're sprinting right now, trying to pick it up. We're going down to around a 4-minute pace. Need 3 minutes right now. Doing well, but it looks like we're going to lose out. We are on the 26 minutes and we get a time of 26 minutes and 4 seconds and a position there of 85th. So we'll take it. I have to say it was a lot quicker than 2 weeks ago where I beat my time by over a minute. So I'm really happy with that. And now we can start to press on a little bit further as we head back towards the 24-minute times. So happy with that. There's our position of 85th. Now let me take you through a summary of the course. Cosmeston Lakes PARKRUN complete, ticking off another C on the alphabet here challenge, making it 9 and making it the highest number of park runs for one letter. So C is out in front right now. In terms of the position bingo challenge in the 5K app, it is also the first time I have come 85th. And the stopwatch bingo, it is the first time I've had 4 seconds at the end of my time. So overall, this park run was pretty successful, even if it doesn't make it onto our leaderboard. In terms of whether this park run is PB worthy after running it, I'd probably say it is PB worthy. I do think that you can actually get quite a quick time, especially with that long downhill at the end. It definitely picks up the pace. But like I was saying earlier, there are quicker ones in like Riverfront, in Newport, or even the Newport one is probably slightly quicker than this one. It is a fairly busy park run too. As you can see at the start, it was pretty busy, but it opens up nice and quickly, and there's quite a bit of space as well at the start to run into the grass and overtake people, but you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. And then in terms of bottlenecks, maybe the bridge is a slight little bottleneck, and then at the top section it does bottleneck a little bit too. However, by the time you get to that top section, everyone has spread out, so it's not too much of an issue. I also want to say a massive thank you to all of the volunteers who did a great job on the day, and without them, these park runs can't go ahead, so thank you very much to them. The scenery was really nice too, so I definitely do recommend you looking around as you're doing the run, not just trying to get your fastest time, especially when you're crossing the lakes and you see all the wildlife on either side, and it's very, very pretty. But now let's take a look at a couple of the pinch points which could slow you down. Starting off with pinch point number 1, which I'm going to say the busy start. So obviously you're going to lose a few seconds on there if you don't get out near the front, or if you don't get out in your right position. So either of those, do make sure you're getting towards the front if you are quick. And then the second pinch point is going to be the slightly hilly nature of it. So obviously, if it was flat, it would be a lot quicker. There is a slight bit of hills, especially in the woodlands area, so that is going to slow down your time. I'd also say that the trail paths may slow you down, especially in the winter months when it is wet and muddy. However, on the day that we did it, it was pretty hard and compact, so couldn't really complain. But as usual, we always go through some tips and tricks on how to get there, and most importantly, where to go for your post-park run coffee. So let's start off with public transport and the train. So the closest train station to the park run is Penarth train station. From there are taxis available just outside, and it is only 6 minutes from there. You can also get a bus which takes 14 minutes, or you can walk and that takes 34 minutes. So pretty good in terms of public transport. And then if you want to get there via bus, there is a bus stop just outside of the park run called Cosmeston Lakes Stop. So that is perfect, nice and close, only a 6-minute walk from there. And the two services which you can take are either the 94, which takes you from Cardiff to Barry via Penarth, or the Easy Way service number 88, which is Penarth to Barry, and both stop outside and they run every hour, so make sure to get the right one. And then in terms of the parking, there is plenty of spots to park at right by the lakes. Again, only a 6-minute walk to the start, and that is pay and display. So it's going to cost you £1 for 1 hour, £2 for 2, £4 for 4 hours, or for all day, you can pay just £5, so not too expensive at all. Then most importantly, where should you go for your post-park run coffee if you want to join everyone else? Well, the name of the cafe at Cosmeston Lakes is Refresh Cafe, so do go over there. It's just a 6-minute walk from the finish line on the other side of the lake and right by where your car park is too. So those are all my tips and tricks for this park run, but if you do have any of your own, do make sure to let me know of them down in the comment section below, and I'll pin them up to the top so that everyone else can see them. Also, do make sure to let me know of how you got on this week with parkrun and what time you managed to get. But now it is time to take a look at my after run stats. Starting off with the number of park runs, which goes up to 74, number of locations goes up to 54, and everything else stays exactly the same. However, we did manage to cut over a minute off our time this week, so I am really happy with that as we head our way back to the times which you just saw on the leaderboard. But I do hope you all enjoyed this review of Cosmeston Lakes PARKRUN, and if you did, do make sure to smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button too, as you could go and check out last week's video where we ran in Fire Service College Park Run, which was our first park run back in a while as we'd been traveling all around Southeast Asia. Or you can go and check out all of my other park runs in the worldwide park run playlist, which includes park runs from all over Europe and also Asia now. But next week we're heading over to another new park run, which is Warwick Racecourse Park Run. Hopefully it should be a pretty quick one, as racecourses are usually flat too. So I'll see you all next week with another park run.